Hi, it's Heather, and today I'm going to be sharing with you tips on what to bring on safari and what to pack. Guys, this is also something that you'll get benefit out of. Everything I'm sharing for the women is going to be basically identical for the men, and I even have some of my husband's boots, shoes, some of the things that he chose to take on safari. So, everyone, if you like this content, please like and also subscribe down below. Everything I'm going to be showing you today, I'm going to put links down below. I am an incredible research junkie. I research. So now you don't have to do it. Right now, I am actually wearing one of my go-to outfits that I wore on safari, a wide brim hat. This is a 50 UPF. These are super important. Just get yourself a nice, comfortable hat. I'll share a link to the one that I purchased. Um, all of your clothing should definitely be breathable and layers. So we'll talk about that in just a moment. But basically, this is a basic Athleta white tee, and then these are the Athleta pants. I think they're called Brooklyn Jogger. And this is what I wore on the airplane. These are like pajamas. I mean, these are like super awesome. I wouldn't wear these in the bush if you're going to be doing walking through the bush in certain areas for snags, but I did wear them on safari and I definitely wore them every day that I did traveling. They're very, very light. So let's start with what size bag to take. Now, if you're doing a safari where you're going to be traveling from one safari camp to another, oftentimes there's going to be requirements placed on you on the size and the weight of your bag. Generally, you can take a carry-on size bag and it needs to be a duffel bag. So, this actually fit the bill. It's a little bit higher when it's full, but they let you get away with it. I didn't have a problem. And we were in 4 countries. I think we did altogether, gosh, 16 flights. So over 24 days. So we used this one bag for 24 days. You can have a hard bag. So that's one thing that they don't tell you. They say take a duffel bag, but this is a carry-on size duffel bag. It's got a hard back. And what I really liked about it was when we were going through the airports, I was able to get a roller. So I'm going to send a link down below. I did go through 4 bags. I even bought $300 bags. I bought, expensive stuff as well. But this is $55. I got it on Amazon. So I'm going to go ahead and send you that link. It's actually the one that I enjoyed the most. I did take a ball cap, but I think I wore it once or twice. So one of the important things when you're in Africa is layering. People think of Africa as being hot. It really wasn't that hot when we were there. We were there for end of August, beginning of September. And what we found during that time frame, which was phenomenal weather, that we needed to layer. So in the morning safaris, which generally you do a morning safari, you come back, you chill by the pool, you have breakfast, you go to the spa, you do some other things, and then you have afternoon and evening safari. This is a great little sweater that I got to layer with. This is all you need, nothing fancy, nothing, um, you just don't need that much. Then one thing that they said was everyone needed these like safari jackets or a utility jacket. So let me show you what I've purchased. And I ended up not taking it with me. So I got this from Banana Republic. They always have a basic safari jacket, also known as a utility jacket. And this is what I bought. I spent months researching it. Everyone said to get one. So here it is. But the reality is, I didn't take it with me. Part of the reason is yes, it's good for a layer, but the jacket I ended up taking, oh, there's that jacket, was warmer. So I felt like this was just too cold. So my husband took a standard Patagonia, a lightweight Patagonia jacket, and that was perfect for him. And then I took a jacket from Athleta. So this is the jacket I took. This Athleta I have it in 3 other colors, and I bought it in this great green color. This is my style. This is what I'm comfortable with. What I found was this was enough. On my coldest days, I wore this sweater and this. And even then, I think it was maybe for an hour. So you really don't need, it's not going to be freezing, but you don't need this long utility jacket. I felt like it took up too much space. It wasn't my style. and it wasn't warm enough. This to me is much warmer, and I can just wear this. And this is what I basically wore most days. Only once or twice that I end up wearing the sweater and this. So anyway, this is made by Athleta. I'll put a link down below, but it's one of my go-to jackets. I have it in a lot of colors. When you go, you're probably going to get a document telling you what kind of things to take. They'll say 2 pairs of pants, 2 pairs of shorts, 4 shirts, a bathing suit, definitely take a bathing suit, a couple of dresses. So I'm going to show you some of the things that I took. My husband took very similar items. So I did take 3 pairs of pants. I wore these, like I said, these are like pajamas. They're fantastic. I wore them as travel pants on the plane. I also purchased these pants. I went through a lot of pants. I probably purchased 10 pairs of pants. And in the end, I went with these, and they're so cute. And they've got these little jogger bottoms so they can kind of fit into your boots. But I got these on Amazon of all places. I got a super cute pair at Athleta, but I went with these instead because I like the material. It's very lightweight and it doesn't snag. And that was a concern. I didn't want anything to snag. And then this is the other pair of pants I bought with from Athleta. And they taper down, and I'm going to go ahead and set a link in there. So basically 2 pair of neutral pants. Now, neutral is something that they tell everyone to do. You want the khakis, the browns, the greens, the neutral colors because you're out in the bush, you're out in the wild. The reality is this: you can wear whatever you want. You do not need to wear neutrals. Everyone that we were around was wearing neutrals. It is pretty commonplace to do that. But if you don't want to, or you don't have the money to go out and get clothes that you don't have, just take what you want. You can wear what you want over there. But we did end up taking neutrals. Okay, both my husband and I got these shirts. They're from Columbia. They're super lightweight. They're very breathable. And I would take them and just wear a tank top underneath and wrap it up a little knot right here. And so it was very cute and stylish. And I loved it. We got them in this tan color and in white. So my husband bought those as well. Another thing they'll say is take a scarf. One of the things is when you're out driving around, sometimes it can get dusty out there. Plus, it's cute and it will keep you warm in the mornings. So you can always just like take a little scarf and then you pair it with your hat. And then next thing you know, you're like safari chic and ready to go. Side note, I did buy these fantastic bracelets. They double as hair scrunchies. And I bought those at a little surf shop down in Coronado called Emerald City, my favorite shop. Oh, here's my other white one. I told you that we got these shirts from Columbia. Yeah, these were winners. This is it's an Athleta tank top. So I did end up with a lot of tank tops as well. This is just a staple in my normal clothing. And then here's another one. This is also from Athleta. It's the same shirt I'm wearing now. This camo green color, khaki green color. So I would just say I took 4 tank tops and I took 2 button-down shirts, and then I took 2 of these shirts as well. Then underneath, I took a brown bralette, and then I have a nude color bralette that I took as well. So I just kept everything really neutral. This bathing suit is reversible. It's made by Koa. It's their staple. I bought this my husband got it from me a few years ago. But it's a staple. And so it was really cute because it's both of the colors that are like neutral. And so I wore these in the safari camp at the pool. And then it doubles since it goes both sides. That was actually really nice. And then here's an example of just some neutral tank tops. So that gives you an idea of what to look for. The other thing is I did bring a couple of neutral dresses. This is a linen dress from Banana Republic. I also brought a long tan dress, and they each have a belt that comes with it, but this matched my boots and I like the brown texture. Bring like a belt to zhuzh it up a little bit. Let's talk about shoes. You could bring whatever you want. My neighbors across the street wore their tennis shoes. I did bring a pair of tennis shoes at the very last minute. I threw them in, but I did buy these for the travel. If you want a pair, I would just bring a lightweight pair that you can push down easily. I think I probably wore these 4 or 5 times. I didn't need them. My staple shoes, pardon me, were these. So I bought some combat boots. Of course, there's so many great brands. Sadly, I went through no less than 15 pairs. My issue is that we were also going to be trekking with the gorillas in Uganda. So I needed to have waterproof. Well, what I figured out at the end is get the comfortable pair of boots I want, so they're not too bulky, that I want cute kind of combat boot style for safari, and then just use something like this where you can make it waterproof. So I just sprayed these waterproof. So let me tell you what I love about these. Combat boots, super flex. You can put them in, very comfortable. Look at how much they bend. You definitely want to make sure that they have grip on the bottom. And one thing that they do these days is really make sure that you have this zipper on the side so you're not lacing your boots the old school fashion way. And then very big for me was I always made sure to get a pair of, these are smart wool. I wear smart wool socks the entire time. They do wash your clothes for you at all of the camps except for underwear. So that's just something to note. I would bring a little small amount of detergent or just use the soap that's there so that you can wash your own underwear, but they will wash your socks, your clothes, your shirts, all those kinds of things. It's very commonplace. But smart wool socks, you can wear them and sweat in them and they don't stink and you can wear them again the next day if you really, really need to. I wasn't really in that position, fortunately, because we had our stuff washed so often, but these are really good. So you definitely want a cute pair of combat boots. And even things like I put them in here and tucked it in, and then it was like just a cute safari look. I'll show some pictures too. Okay, I bought these for safari and I broke them in a couple months ahead of time. And I probably had 5 or 6 girlfriends ask me where I got them. So, guys, I would say bring your flip flops, take your flip flops, and girls, wear your flip flops if that's what you want to do. I showed you that camo dress or that green dress I had. And then I also had a long brown dress that I wore. And I was able to wear those with just these sandals that I got, and they are so cute and super duper comfortable. No time to break them in. Same with these boots. I'll send a link to the boots and also to the sandals. But we went to Zanzibar for the end of our trip for a week to go diving and scuba diving and enjoy the beach. And in the beginning, we started off in Doha, Qatar. So it was really hot in Doha. It was like 104 degrees out. And I wore long dresses and these sandals. So these are great to have around camp. You can even go on safari. I wore these on safari many times, actually. So one thing that you might not think about is on safari, you're not walking around out in the bush, hanging out with lions. I mean, there are times when you do lunch in the bush, or you could do sunsetters, and you could do nighttime walking safaris and private conservancies. But for the most part, it is a very inactive trip. So for those of you who work out or you're used to moving your bodies, those of you who think you need to be wearing these rugged shoes, that's just not the case. You're mostly just sitting in an off-roading vehicle and being driven all around. So that's really the reality of what's going to happen on safari. I'm going to show you my husband's boots. These are the Salomon X Ultra 04, and these are currently in 2004 rated the #1 waterproof hiking boots. So this is what he took. And he wore these both on safari. And then obviously when we went gorilla trekking, we needed to have waterproof boots. It didn't end up raining, nor had it been raining. So we had no issue. I did use these because they had ankle support. So these were not hiking boots. And this is what I used. And we went 2,000 feet straight up on switchbacks the whole way. So it was pretty intense. Super important. Get a pair of binoculars. These we borrowed from a neighbor, and then we bought another pair ourselves. These I think are 20, they were they're 15 by 25, and these were fantastic. What I love about these is, this is important, everything fit in this little bag. So I bought this from Athleta, and it's a crossbody bag, but it's a big one, right? It holds quite a bit. So this was able to hold my binoculars. Look at, I have all the space in it still. So much space. I could put a water bottle in here as well. And I can also put my camera, which I did buy this camera for safari. I'll tell you about this camera in a moment. So anyway, I recommend something like this. My husband brought along a really thin travel backpack that kind of squished up into nothing. We rarely needed it. We put it inside the SUV and then maybe we throw in our hats or some extra bottles of water or our sweaters. So really, you don't need much. So this was very helpful. I would get something like this. I'll put the link to it. Couple of other things to note. I put all of my electronics in something like this. I just had everything in here. And I bought this Canon. It is a 40x optical zoom. It goes, I think, to 900 meters. It's crazy. I am not a great big camera person. I like to take pictures. I love photos, but I'm not a camera person. If you're a camera person, you've already checked out. You already know what you're going to take. But this is the PowerShot SX740. I will put a link down below. I researched for 3 months what camera I was going to take on this, but it zooms up to, I think, 900. It's crazy how much it zooms. The other thing, people said to take extra batteries. I bought 2 extra batteries, so I had 3 batteries for this. I didn't end up needing extra batteries. It was not that big of a deal. To be honest with you, people said my iPhone probably would not be enough, and it really was for 90% of my stuff. Most of my stuff was very up close. We got live kills up close, all of that stuff. There were some things where I did need the binoculars, and there were some times when I did need a longer zoom, but I did use my iPhone for most stuff. I bought extra batteries for my GoPro. If you're going to take that, we took it because we like to go diving, and we went diving at the end. This was a really great tip. This is called insect repellent, and you can actually spray it on your boots, spray it on your pants, your jackets, and it lasts. It lasts up to like something like 6 washes and 2 months or something like that. So I'll put a link to this as well. But this insect repellent is really good. We did not really have any issues at all with insects. I did have friends that went a year ago, and we were mostly for our safaris, we were in Kenya, and they were neighboring us in Tanzania. So we were in the Masai Mara, and if you step your foot over the borderline into Tanzania from Kenya, you're now in the Serengeti. So they're the same area, but just different countries. My friends Dave and Josie said that they dealt with a lot of ticks. So they were concerned about ticks at least. So we didn't see a tick. We dealt with 0 ticks. But this is, if you are concerned about it, this will help with the ticks. So this is a nice thing to spray on your stuff. Make sure you're getting the right outlets. It's going to be very important for that. So I'll put a link to this. This is for F and G. So this is for Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda. We were in Qatar, covered that area as well. In Kenya, you are not allowed to take Ziploc bags. It's against the law. So no disposable bags. So you can order these on Amazon. I will send you the link. And these are great. I'll be using these actually quite a bit in the future when I travel because they're basically Ziploc bags, but they're reusable. So I put together a whole medical kit. I gave a mini medical kit that I bought online to my husband. It has like an anti-diarrheal. It has like for indigestion. It's got like Tylenol in it. It's got all the things. But I also pack my own stuff with Band-Aids. And one thing I was told by people that live in Africa, if you get the tsetse flies, if those get you, which we didn't have an issue with, you want to have hydrocortisone for the tsetse flies because they'll itch. And also if you get bit by the ants, there's really big ants out there, they itch and you can just rub this on and it will help. So I packed my own bag on top of that. Here's also, you want to make sure you take sunscreen and lip balm because you will burn your lips and you kind of forget about that stuff. And then all of my toiletries just went in here. Another thing is you want to get malaria pills. We don't do Western medicine. I have kids in their 20s and they've never had an antibiotic in their life. We just do things naturally. The one thing I was willing to do is get them anti-malaria pills. We stopped about halfway through because we realized it was not going to be an issue for us. But you don't want to be in a situation where you don't have them because it is serious. And so you're supposed to start taking them 2 days ahead of time and then just continue through. But you can kind of figure out if you're going to need them, where you're going once you're there. So you do have to have a doctor write a prescription for this. Because you don't have a lot of space, you don't have a lot of room, you take your travel bag that you have, but you can also take a backpack with you. So this is like a big old backpack. My my husband has one that's even bigger than this. And so this way we like put our iPad for the trip and our headphones and a sweater. He's very tall, so his shoes are huge. He put like his tennis shoes in here. So you can take a backpack with you as well. So don't freak out when you think there's no way to pack everything in my bag. The other thing is a lot of these countries, you need to know the visas that you need to get and you have to do them in advance. So I would start looking minimum 6 weeks ahead of time into what visas you need to get. I had a situation with a neighbor across the street had a problem and they couldn't get their flights and they missed their flight because they will ask you when you board uh, from the States, from wherever you are, if you have your visa. And if you don't, you're not getting on that flight. So it is important to get the visas ahead of time. Many of these countries no longer allow you, which even a year ago, you could get them in the country if you didn't have it. And a lot of times they just don't allow for that. So that's important. Some of the countries require travel insurance of some sort or medical insurance. So make sure you have that. And then I kept all of that in this front zipper along with our main itinerary. And then I had, this is an example, this is the Republic of Kenya, and it is my online approval. So you can get approved ahead of time to get into the countries. The other thing to note is that there are some vaccine requirements. And if you are not someone who vaccinates, like my husband and I, you can get a letter from your doctor that you are not a candidate for the yellow fever vaccine. And then you put that in to the country, and we were approved by all three countries because we needed to get our yellow fever vaccines for three of the four countries that we were going to. So you can do that. So that's just not necessary. I just want you to know, I know that there's always this that I have to get vaccinated for this, that, and the other. And so much of that is not true. Whatever you see on travel websites for the government, for the US, like they're all recommendations if you actually read the terminology. So anyway, but if you do want plan to get vaccinated, just make sure you do that. You have to do that at least 14 days in advance. So, or they won't let you into the country. So those are things where I would hate for you to get a ticket and not realize that you need to be vaccinated or you need to have a vaccine exemption. There's that. If you guys have any questions, please put them down below and I'll be putting out some more content. Thanks so much.